year volunteering in the communities that they serve. That's on top of the financial support that they provide to several hundred nonprofits right here in southeastern Wisconsin. If you're looking for a true local community bank, check them out today at bank59.com. Member FDIC. Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune in to Kyle Breston Nortman from 2 to 5 every day. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's time for the best 60 minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee, alongside former Packer Brian Bulaga. Here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
The best 60 minutes of your day, the best maybe 15 minutes of your week when Brian Bulaga and Jason Wilde discuss things. I'm assuming Jaire Alexander will be one of them. It is the Brian Bulaga Homer Hour. Good afternoon, Brian, the doctor of football.
How we doing?
I'm good. You always want questions. 1-800-990-3776 if you have a question for Brian Bulaga. And I always state this with the fact that if you don't have questions, then you really don't care about the Packers, because one can determine how much someone cares about something based on how many and how often they have questions. And we know people in this state care about the Packers. Apparently not everybody can call in. I got sent one with the combine going on from Scott. 1-800-990-3776. Generally, we will go with the questions from the people who call in. But you ready for this one?
Yeah.
With the combine and all the weightlifting and running, any memory that Brian has, the doctor, of his, and like, who was the greatest weightlifter ever, or who was the fastest, not knowing all the positions you're aware of? And that, to me, is an excellent point. You might know what other offensive lineman did. I don't know that you know, for example, that Don Beebe of the Packers held the record for the fastest 40 for a number of years with Deion Sanders when they were both in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously there's guys that stick out to me from a lineman perspective. I mean, like Larry Allen, I think, you know, you watched him bench press, like, obviously ridiculous, just like crazy bench press numbers.
So do you do a certain amount? It seems like it's 250 or whatever. I don't know.
It's 225 is
225 bench, and then you try to do as many as you can.
Yeah, as many as you can. A guy that was really impressive in my year was Mike Iupati. He went to the 49ers. He did a bunch. He was a big, strong guy. He was impressive in the bench press. And
I mean, like 50, like 75, 100?
No. I mean, I don't know what the lineman record is. It may be in the high 40s. But I don't know if anyone's got.
See,
50.
I would think you had an unfair advantage. This is how I always felt about push-ups, because my arms were incredibly long, which makes it unfair. But your arms, right, were short, or at least they called them short, did they?
Yeah, they called them short.
Right, so that should help you on the bench press, because it doesn't have to go as far for you to do it.
Well, so here's the thing about that, too, is how all guys are built as well, right? Like, you got to look at different types of builds, right? I mean, there's some guys that are very barreled, big-chested guys, like a lot of guard builds. Mm-hmm. Those guys have very barrel-chested, so like by the time it hits their chest and they go up with it, there's not much there's not much movement of that bar. So like for me, different. Yeah, I might have had shorter arms, but I wasn't built very barrel-chested. That's not how I was built. So like I'm going down, I'm going all the way down, and I'm going all the way up. And you know, you had John Lott, the strength coach who I had in L.A. for a year. He's screaming at you and telling you to lock out and all that. He's over the top of you, yelling at you. and making that atmosphere as good as he can in there. There's numbers every year that kind of pop out. I mean, I just saw something that some D lineman from Tennessee ran a 4.47, like a D lineman, and the guy didn't look like a smaller DN. He looked like a bigger guy that may play like a 4 tech, ran a 4.47. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what is going on? Like, these kids are coming out in their freak shows. Like,
right, you can't be that fast if you're that big, right? It's simple.
It's unbelievable. Like, I watched it, and I was like, that kid looks very big. He doesn't look like a true DN, but, then again, Julius Peppers didn't look like he should be a defensive end and run like he did, but he sure did. I'm not comparing the kid to Julius Peppers. I have no idea who the kid from Tennessee is. But when you see those types of numbers and you see the body size of the kid that's running it, you're like, okay, you have to notice it based on athleticism. So it's just a matter of, paying attention to small things like that. And going from there. Oh, actually, I just got corrected by my mom on a text message, so you know.
Your mom listens to the show?
Oh, yeah.
You know how many times I've been in this since 1980? Do you know how many times my mom has listened to a show I've done? Your choices are 0 and -1.
I'll take 0.
0.
So she corrected me.
Wow.
And said Iupati did 27. I think he did more in his pro day. Maybe I stand corrected, but so he didn't do that many, I guess.
Yeah, the most bench reps ever at the combine was from Justin Ernst, a defensive tackle from 1999. He had 51 reps.
Yeah,
at 225. For offensive
51.
lineman, it was Mitch Petrus, a guard from 2010, had 45 reps.
Yeah, Petrus. Yeah, I know.
Well,
yeah.
and I ask this because had I been an offensive lineman, unless someone could show to me the benefit of this, I'd go, "This is a joke." Why don't you see how fast I can wash dishes and get 100 into the dishwasher? And maybe I'm wrong, but I was going to ask you as a follow-up to Scott's question, the weightlifters in the Packer locker room, of all the offensive linemen. Now, I don't know that you're keeping track, but it doesn't take very long to find out who's the best.
No.
The bench press. Of all your teammates, offensive linemen, you can give other positions. I don't know. Do you know about how other people are in the weight room, or is it just offensive linemen?
No, you have a pretty good idea of
all right,
the guys
who's the best ever, offensive or defensive lineman or anybody, in terms of the greatest amount or the most impressive bench press performance?
I think in the Packers weight room, and I was there, it was probably Corey Linsley, hands down.
Okay.
And a close second would be Mike Daniels.
Okay.
Is a close second in the, like, if you're on the bench press and just in the weight room in general. Corey was a weight room junkie. He was extremely powerful, very strong, very quick twitch in the weight room. So he had so much advantage in the weight room that he brought to the field because of how quick twitch he was in there, and it played out on the field really well. And some guys are good in the weight room, but it can't translate out to the field. And
that's kind of my question. I would think if I was you, I always kind of want to be you, but I don't give a damn what they do bench pressing. I could go out on the field and discover, and there, to me, is no real benefit. I have no idea how someone's going to be on the field based on what they are in the weight room, and maybe that's inaccurate. Maybe you can tell something. Like if you can only do 225 2 times, you're probably going to struggle. But I'm sure everybody can do it. Well, I could have asked who's the worst in the weight room, but I don't have to ask you that.
See, that is, you hit it on the head. I think that test, and the more that, I was in the NFL and you talk to the coaches, and I talked to Campy, who was always because he was a big bench presser in his day too when he played for the Packers. That was his thing. He was a bench press guy. He loved bench press when he was a player, so he loved the bench press at the combine. He's probably there now watching it, at the combine. It's his thing. So more you talk to him, and when guys put up impressive numbers, it's impressive. But I think the thing they look at is, like that comes to be a red flag is like, does he do it like 5 times? And then there's a question that you have to go back and look at the tape and see, does he struggle with play strength? Right? Like, what does he do against certain guys in situations? And does he struggle against bigger bodied guys that are powerful men? And is that going to translate to the NFL? Can you correct that when he gets to the next level, when guys are already
right? But you'd be surprised because the kid's been in college, right? I don't care where you go; they do weightlifting everywhere, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing if a guy played. But if a guy played Division I offensive line and it could only do 5 at 225, I would assume you'd be shocked.
Oh yeah,
or not?
I'd be
okay.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. I'd mean, I'd assume he's hurt or or something, or there's something going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't know what to think. It would blow my mind.
Okay.
So I think that's what the test is for. I think the test is to see if there's something there that they need to go back and check for play strength in the big scheme of things. Now, for the receivers,
so it's not how good you are. This is true of other things. It's what I say about relationships. It's not how pretty you are, but you can only be so ugly. You don't have to address this. That's actually how relationships work. But anyway, like, so you don't have to be that good, but you can only be so bad for them not to make it an issue. Would you agree with that theory? Okay.
That's what I think. Like, in those types of testing things, like, if there's got to be a threshold or a number, and I don't know what that number is. But if you're below that number, then that makes them start to look at, like, all right, what are we missing on tape about certain attributes?
And I would be more curious. I'm always more curious about legs than arms because I think they're everything, but that may be more speed. I don't know if no one talks about squats, or there's got to be a leg exercise that football teams are interested in. But again, maybe I just made that up.
They test at the combine.
No, then there's nothing that good. They haven't, right? I mean, I don't know. Squats is something you work on in the NFL, don't you? Or I don't know. What leg exercises do they have you do as a player?
Oh, yeah, you do that. But, like, I mean, you squat, you deadlift, you do all that certain stuff. But as you get older, you start to modify your lifts. You do different things, and strength coaches, it's different everywhere. So, like, it's hard to put every guy on the same program, right? Like, I mean, every guy can't do the same thing based on physical or injury or age or whatever it may be. But I think they look at leg strength. I think, I don't know how they do it, but I mean, it would be 40 and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, see, and I heard Tausch talking about the 10-yard. I don't know. 40 is the stupidest thing in the world. They might as well have you run a mile as a 40. But I mean, there has to be ways to judge foot speed, because you've stated, another has, anybody, that I think is the most important thing. If two players are the same size, say the one who's got better feet, well, how do I judge better feet? I don't know. It's the 10-yard
position drills.
Is it
position drills?
Okay.
Yeah, that's when they go out and they do the position drills, and they get out there and they have the O-line coaches running through the position work. And I think that's when you can see guys, in a very raw environment. It's not, I mean, it's controlled, but it's uncontrolled. And they're having to go through drills, kind of unscripted. You have an idea of what the drills are, obviously, but, like, it's unscripted. Like, the coaches don't tell you which way they're going to send you, or the movements exactly, how many times you're going to shuffle left or right or backwards or they're not telling you any of that. You're just having to react, and they get to see how you do it.
And your balance. You've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
Waist. I can't remember.
Yeah, I was talking this to Tausch, like, all these drills that they're doing on field, the coaches get to see, are their feet coming close together? Do they start to get high? Are they able to keep a nice base and be quick laterally and drag their feet and stay in good posture and redirect quick and do all those things? Because those are the things, if I was a line coach, that's what I'm looking for. Like, that's exactly it. Like, I want to see the footwork, because if the footwork's there and, all the other things are, we'll just say average, right? Like, they're average to above average. The footwork is the most important thing, because that translates onto the field.
Well, you just don't have to tell me your theory as a flag football coach. All right. What are you watching? Because you have linemen, right?
No, just a center. Just a center.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, he's got a snap, and that's it. No lineman. Can't block in flag football.
Oh, okay. Tells you how much I knew.
blocking.
So you can't train your players to cheat the way you treat them to do zone and man-to-man as DBs. So.
No, can't do that.
So all the center has to do is what?
Oh, he's got to snap it, and then, there are times because they're allowed to send a blitzer.
Well, that's what I thought.
Send guys to rush, so he can kind of get in the way of the blitzer and have him slow his feet down, then run out for a route. But it can't be. He can't get in the way and hit him or anything or bump into him. But
so you're not using your skills as a coach on the center much. There are other areas that you're focusing on.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, believe me, the most important thing in flag football is making sure that the ball's not on the ground, because if it is, it's a dead play. So, yes, we do focus on the snap initially quite a bit, because the ball needs to get to the quarterback initially. That is very important, that they snap it properly. That's A1 right there.
How difficult is it to find someone who snaps well?
You would be surprised.
No, I'm not.
Because
I wouldn't be. I don't know anything about it. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
It's tough to get kids to get a ball back to a quarterback.
But I just assume maybe not many want that position. I'm playing flag football. The last position I'd want is center, right?
Well, see, I would actually want it, because one, you're on the field every play. You don't get rotated out, so that means you're on the field. And a lot of the times, the center is the one that the defense forgets about and cuts loose in coverage, because they're looking at everyone else. And the center gets cut loose a lot in coverage, and he's open. And that's where the quarterback finds open quite a bit, the center. So, to me, if you can deliver a strike to the quarterback and it's a good, firm snap, and the quarterback gets the ball quick and he's able to go through reads, and the center's normally open quite a bit. So that's what I try to tell the kids. I'm like, hey, center, you're on the field pretty much all offensive snaps, and you're going to be open a lot. So if you want to be center, snap the ball. If you don't, you're getting rotated.
How many of you convinced to have a greater interest in being the center?
Not many. Not many.
just curious. I know won't have any trouble with you and Jay Sewoldy talking about Jaire Alexander. Can't wait. It's next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
Well, we still have 3 left lanes blocked on 94 southbound in Kenosha County. This is right about at Highway C, and very serious accident there. So that got some big delays stretching back from before Highway 50 to the accident scene. Eastbound 94, watch for backups from Highway F all the way through the Barker Road area, back on the brakes out of the Zoo interchange all the way to 35th. Westbound is heavy from 20th Street all the way through to about Holly Road, back on the brakes west of Highway 100 into Waukesha County. And southbound 41, watch for delays from Silver Spring down to Capitol Drive. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 30. Tomorrow, partly sunny, mild and windy, isolated afternoon showers with a high of 51. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
The best source for every piece of NFL news you need to know.
That's the idea of a deal. Each side gets wins, right? They have Jordan Love under contract for the next 5 years.
ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter is on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy every Wednesday morning at 7:30. Sponsored by Island Resort and Casino.
I think Packers fans would sign up for 12-5 today, and maybe they will be.
Right here on 94.5 ESPN, and also streaming live on the Wisconsin On Demand app and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. It's time for the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Wintrust. Get your Golden Eagles essentials by opening Marquette checking from Wintrust today.
Number 21 Marquette hit a season-high 17 three-pointers as they pounded Providence 82-52 at Fiserv Forum. On his 23rd birthday, senior guard Cam Jones finished with 17 points, 7 assists, and hit 4 three-pointers for his 44th straight game, scoring in double figures, the longest active streak in the nation.
Chase Ross to Cam Jones. Quick three. Good. Oh, he's feeling it. He's feeling it.
Junior big man Ben Gold chipped in a career-high 17 points on 8 of 10 shooting, including 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. Marquette improved to 21-7 overall and 12-5 in Big East play, just a half game behind second-place Creighton. MU's back in action Saturday night when they visit Georgetown.
This has been the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank, and the official bank of Marquette University. UW Credit Union presents the Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Ashton Rotman with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week is Whitnall High School's Ethan Shutton. The senior swimmer setting a pair of state records in the state meet on his way to earning 2 gold medals. In a 200-meter freestyle, Shutton finished in 1 minute 37.67 seconds, an astounding 5 seconds ahead of the silver medalist. He set another WIAA state record on the 500-meter free, finishing in 4 minutes and 22.79 seconds. Again, way ahead of the pack, as the silver medal winning swimmer was 8 seconds behind. This wasn't the first gold medal winning performance for Shutton, as he also took home the 500-meter freestyle gold in 2023. Shutton will be continuing his swimming career in college at the Division I level starting next school year at the University of Minnesota.
Want to know where the snow is? Snow River Mountain Resort in Michigan's UP is buried in it. Over 125 inches of pure natural powder this season alone. Skip the airport hassle and head to the UP's only resort with high-speed lifts. We're talking deep snow, 0 crowds, and a season that stretches well into April. Why fly south when winter's best-kept secret is right here in your backyard? Make this spring break legendary at Snow River Mountain Resort. Snow River Mountain Resort, where the snow stays longer and the lines move faster. Visit snowriver.com to book now.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Go to WisconsinOnDemand.com and find out if I'm true. Jason Wilde is on every show associated with Good Karma. You go to WisconsinOnDemand.com, hit Jason Wilde, and find out if I'm stating, understating, or overstating my point. Right now, it's the Doctor of Football, Brian Bulaga, and Jason Wilde. And I have a first question for both of you. What do you believe is going to happen to Jaire Alexander? Unless, Doctor of Football, you prefer to go somewhere else with Jason Wilde. Take it away.
Nope. Jason, we can go here. I'll let Jason take, because he and I kind of spoke about this, but we spoke about it, and I think on his program, and then all the, we talked about it, and then that evening it all started to break loose that Ian Rappaport and all those guys started to break the news that he was on the trading block, which I didn't know about that prior when we were on the program. So, that was new news to me. So I guess we had talked about it, Jason, but we didn't really know that, or at least I didn't. Maybe you did because of with your sources, but I didn't know that. So, does that change your mind that maybe people are more interested than what we initially thought when we talked the other day?
Well, first of all, let me just say that Sydney Wilde would be happy to play center for you.
I like that.
I really enjoyed the commercial during the Super Bowl about girls and flag football, because now she would just be biding her time until she won the quarterback job. But being on the field every play, she'd be definitely down with that. I'll give the NFL credit, man, because as the father of 2 girls that are both really good athletes, who obviously got that from their mother, it's a really
hold on, I got to interject. That's crack. Jason Wilde could have been a professional bowler if he had ever explored that. Take it away, Jason.
Yeah, I might have been a Division III college baseball player and a couple of other things. But the bottom line is she's the one that's the great athlete. But I really like Sydney can throw the football now. We've played catch, and I think the idea of playing flag football and it being a way for girls to play the game and not be Helen Hunt in the classic 1980s film where she's the prom queen and the quarterback in some Canadian school. I love that idea. Now, the idea of trading Jaire, look, I mean, I actually thought when you came on with us, Brian, I was struggling to push back on old boy Mark Tauscher, because he was sounding like, well, we thought that Aaron Jones was going to be back, and then Goody lowballed him, so maybe we're all thinking that Jaire is gone, but he's really going to be back. And I'm like, no. Yeah. And this was before the trade stuff came out. Like, look, if we've learned anything about Brian Gutekunst, he doesn't want old guys, and he doesn't want injured guys. And he doesn't really want difficult guys either. Like, he had no choice but to keep Rodgers because he played at such an elite level and won his third and fourth MVPs back-to-back, and Jordan Love wasn't ready. But I've told this story a bunch. He was ready to take Drew Lock at 12 in 2019. He was ready to move on from Rodgers then. So he doesn't like old guys, he doesn't like difficult guys, and he doesn't like injured guys. And while Jaire Alexander isn't old, he just turned 28, I would say the other two things apply to him. So I think he made it very clear in Indianapolis he wants more draft picks. One way to get them is trading players that you have on your roster and trading Jaire, who you don't really want anyway because you can't count on him. That's one way to add a draft pick. If Jaire Alexander had played in 64 of the 68 possible games the last 4 years, he ain't going anywhere. But he's played in 34 of the 68 possible games, and that's why he's not going to be back.
So I guess, Jason, if a trade is possible, and we've heard him Goody say that he wants more picks, do you think that it's a possibility that Jaire actually gets packaged for a player and another player? No, you don't think that's possible?
No, I think I noticed that there was some aggregation of my free story at channel3000.com, but I talked to or traded text messages with 3 NFL executives, and they were all over the map. Like, one said he didn't even think they'd get a 6th-round pick for him. Another said he definitely they would get more than that. And then a third said, I would start by asking teams for a 3rd-rounder and then settle for a 4th or a 5th. So, I don't know what the reality is there, but when 3 guys who do this for a living, and I don't think any of them are probably interested in Jaire Alexander, I would argue that they're not just trying to drive down the price. They're just being honest about what they think, because I've known them all for a while. So the idea that, they can't get anything for Jaire, I disagree with that. But I think the choice that I think they would have to make is, would you take a 5th-rounder for him today, or would you want to do hey, we'll take a 6th-rounder in 2026, but depending on what he does for you and how much he plays for you, that can escalate to a 5th or a 4th or even a 3rd.
Yes, I want to input here. I heard Jason Wilde say earlier today with Seattle, I think that would be fabulous, some sort of conditional, and I can't go 100%, but I'm sure that he's worth a conditional something, right?
Right, but that means you don't get him. That means you don't get the pick this year. It means you get the pick in 2026. And so, do you want the pick now when you only have 7 picks right now, or do you want it next year? I don't know what Goody would be thinking there. And again, the other challenge with this, and this is, I think, Brian, probably part of your thinking, is if I'm another NFL team, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't think they want him on their team anymore. So if nobody trades for him, they're going to cut him. And then he doesn't cost me anything, and I can just sign him. Because they're also not going to play him on his existing contract. His new team will want to rework that contract, probably give him some guaranteed money. But his base is 16 this year and 18 next year. And I would think that they would want to, adjust that and try and get the best out of him. And you know how guys are when they don't have any guaranteed money. We all would love it, right? Fans would love that. Oh, make him earn it. Look at what he's done the last 2 years. Players don't want that. They want certainty. And so I think it's a fascinating case study. The one scenario that I won't go 0% because that's Homer's deal, I just don't see him on this football team. I just don't. And Goody had the chance to say it in a way that leaves the door open for him not being on the team, but sending a clear message that he wanted him. He was asked point blank, will Jaire Alexander be on this team this year? And he said, we'll see. And my argument is you can leave the door open for him to not be on your team and still say that you want him on your team. And he didn't do that. He could have said, look, there's a lot of things we got to work through. I want to go through with the doctors. We got to figure some things out with his contract. But I can tell you this. I want Jaire Alexander on this football team if we can make those things work. Because we're a better football team when he's on the field. That's been proven. But he didn't say that.
Yeah, they're just both, Jason, they're just both trying to be positive. They hate each other. Yep. Both sides hate each other. Dennis has a question on YouTube. Can the Packers get a better pick if they eat more of his contract?
So none of his, there's no existing guaranteed money. So, his base salary is all that's left. So, whoever trades for him can adjust his base salary. They can negotiate, all right, we're going to guarantee half of it for you or whatever. But the Packers, there's no leftover guarantees. So, the team that inherits his contract, it would be $16 million for his base, but they could also cut him and owe him nothing. So there's no real it's not like with Cooper Kupp, who has an $8 million roster bonus due. And it would make him more tradable if the Rams pay that and then trade him. But that's not Jaire's case. He has the only thing he has are workout bonuses left, and he's got to earn those. Those don't just get paid to him.
Yep. Jason, who do you think, in your opinion, is under more pressure this year? They talked about it on Unsportsmanlike this morning, Evan and Canty and them. Do you think it's LaFleur or Jordan Love? Who do you think is under more heat?
Ooh, first of all, I think they both are, right? Let's be honest. All of us, myself included, got carried away with the way we viewed what Love did in the final 8 games of 2023, and we crowned him prematurely. And so I believe he has a bunch to prove. But I think with LaFleur, so much of Love's success is contingent on how good of a job LaFleur does of putting him in position to succeed, right? And you, Brian, you and I have talked about this before. I just didn't see all these guys roaming the countryside wide open for Love to not necessarily have to be super accurate to get them the football like they did even a year ago in 2023. And I don't know if you remember this at the locker room, but I'll never forget, I'm standing by the wide receiver area because they used to be cordoned off by position. Then LaFleur mixed them up. But it was in 18, and the Rams had played the Vikings on Thursday Night Football. And on Friday, Cobb and Adams and Rodgers, and I was sort of just the uncool guy that was also in the conversation, we're all talking about, oh, my God, did you watch the Rams? They scored 40-some points, and there were guys open everywhere. And I just remember them, and they all love Mike for who he is, and you and I do too. But his offense was predicated on guys winning their one-on-one matchups. And this was an offense where these guys were all like, holy blank, these guys are schemed open. And the biggest indictment that I have for last year because LaFleur came and he did the same stuff as we saw McVay do at L.A. with that team. And the biggest indictment I felt last season was when I heard LaFleur say that our guys have to win their one-on-one matchups as receivers to get open for Jordan. And I thought, dude, the whole idea of this offense is that you don't have to rely on that because the scheme gets them open. And to me, that was when I thought, all right, LaFleur's got to rework this offense, got to get the play action going again, take advantage of Josh Jacobs and what he brings, and go out there and scheme guys open so Jordan Love has a job that's easier than it was this past season.
To both of you, look it. The GM has put way more pressure on the floor than his quarterback. That's what GMs do. The pressure is 10 times greater on the floor because of how the GM views it, right?
No. First of all, the GM doesn't get to decide LaFleur's future. I don't think Ed Policy is going to change that policy when he takes over. Secondly, I think there's pressure on Goody too, man. Like they've got, like, he hit, as I said to him, he hit grand slam home runs with McKinney and Jacobs. He also elevated the expectation game on him, and he's to blame too. I mean, he's the one who did not have a veteran offensive lineman who could come in and at least be decent when Elton Jenkins went out of the playoff game. Like, they could have won that game if they had a veteran lineman who could play just passably in that game. And instead, Telly Monster and Travis Glover weren't good enough. So they all, look, if the GM is going to come out and say after the season, and this was one of my first stories on Channel 3000 this week, if Brian Gutekunst is going to come out and say, hey, we got to ramp up our urgency, it's time for this team to compete for championships, that's not just the players, and that's not just the head coach. The GM's got to ramp up his urgency too. And I want to see what he does in free agency. I want to see if he goes up and gets a player in the draft that he thinks can tilt the field. Those are all parts of his job too. I think they are all not on the hot seats, but under the microscope.
Yep.
Ooh, under the microscope. We got to get a definition of that. That means...
I agree, though. I mean, like, and the only thing I would say...
well, does under the microscope mean that regardless of what happens, they're both back for at least 2 more years? That's what I would say under the microscope.
Yes. Yep. Yes. They're not. Their seats are not hot.
No,
go ahead. Go ahead, Doc, because I want to ask you guys about Harold Landry, if either of you know anything about him. But go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, he's a good pass rusher.
Yeah, he's a good pass rusher.
And he's available for trade. Could he be a Xavier McKinney that they're stupid enough that they want to get rid of him because of his contract?
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you, Jason. Could that be a package deal that you get with Jaire?
So I don't know. Like, player-for-player deals tend to be the kind of end of right at the trade deadline type deal, right? Certainly that's a possibility. I would, again, I'm not saying Landry is the second coming of Lawrence Taylor.
No.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure with where Jaire is that's enough. Right? And again, the big thing, the one thing that keeps echoing in my brain, whether it's Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson or Myles Garrett or Devontae Adams or whoever it might be, was Goody was pretty passionate about the idea that when you acquire a proven player in a trade, you give up draft capital, you give up the nice, cheap rookie contract that draft pick or draft picks would have been playing on, and then you usually have to pay the guy that you trade for. And he did not sound like someone who was really interested in doing that. And he also pointed out that it hasn't happened. Like, the best example he could come up with of getting a high-profile player where you gave up a premium pick for a veteran was Brett Favre, and Brett Favre doesn't even fit that paradigm because he was a third stringer who was so hungover that he missed the team photo his rookie year.
And only one man was willing to give up a number one for him in the league at that time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Jason, we got to go because we're way late. We're so late. Way late is not appropriate, but I don't care because you guys are awesome. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Be good.
The Doctor of Football and Jason Wilde. And yes, YouTube, we're getting some questions about that as well. And a possible trade. And we'll get more. So Harold Landry, I'm glad you guys, he had some sacks, but they say he played like garbage last year. I don't know how that's possible.
Well, so did the Titans in general.
Yes,
so
that's good.
Okay.
So they could be, it would be to me stupid, but the Giants were with McKinney. Maybe it could happen again. We'll continue with that next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Still dealing with an accident in Kenosha County, southbound 94, just about at Highway C. We've got a crash blocking the 3 left lanes. So only 1 lane of traffic is getting through. Big delays from before Highway 50 down to that accident scene. Other than that, we've got eastbound 94 with the crash right about at 76th Street. It is off on the right shoulder. Delays coming out of the Zoo interchange past that point all the way to 35th. The westbound side heavy out of the Marquette all the way to Mitchell Boulevard, back on the brakes from Highway 100 all the way to Sunny Slope Road. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mostly cloudy skies, a low of 30. Tomorrow, partly sunny, mild, windy, isolated afternoon showers too with a high of 51. Weather is brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee. Packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
It still is really, really weird seeing Luka Doncic in the Los Angeles Lakers uniform. It was even weirder last night when in Los Angeles, Luka Doncic took on his former team, the Dallas Mavericks. And early on, man, he was ready to show up and show out to show them exactly what they're going to be missing, what they should be missing, and how much better he is going to make the Los Angeles Lakers. Now comes the hard part with Luka Doncic. Now that that's out the way, and he still has another meeting in Dallas against the Mavericks on April the 9th, it's going to be even weirder seeing that. But now the hard part really, really begins, because that was step one to say, I'm no longer a member of that organization. His body was in a Lakers uniform. His mind was still in Dallas, part of that Mavericks organization. Last night was a very important first step, no matter what the end result was going to be. And lucky for Luka and the Lakers, it turned out to be a win. But now the hard part really starts now, because now Luka's officially a Laker. And we really know now there's nothing he can do about that. In 60 seconds, the what if in Philadelphia.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I know they have that big contract with Joel Embiid. They got another big contract with Paul George. Another big contract with Tyrese Maxey. But what did the Philadelphia 76ers try to do the whole process thing over again? That is something that, in my opinion, clearly has to be on the table. Yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult to get from underneath the contracts involving Joel Embiid and Paul George. Those would be the two most likely as a part of this new process that you need to move on from them and build this team around Tyrese Maxey. It can be very easy to put that out there. But if you're Philadelphia, if you're going to keep waiting for two players you really need, Tyrese Maxey, that either can't stay healthy or can't deliver in playoff situations, you're going to get old really quick. And that's going to get old really quick for Tyrese Maxey. That should be the question on the table. How do you rebuild this again when you got those bloated contracts on your basketball team in Philadelphia? For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
It's for time again. Half hour, 38 minutes. I say a half hour, 38 minutes. You better say American Place Casino. Homer, I'm sick and tired. I haven't said it enough. American Place Casino, located in Lee County, Illinois. They got great table games. They got great slot machines. They got all kinds of food. You can get all the stuff and ways that you can have your best chance at winning big money. AmericanPlaceCasino.com. Voted friendliest casino. But my expertise is just a half hour south of Franklin. Just a half hour south of Franklin and 38 minutes if you want to be specific. That is American Place Casino. Did I tell you? A half hour south of Franklin, 38 minutes to be exact. Bisco Auto Body. I give you that information so that you'll like me. Here's how it works. Bisco Auto Body in Forest Home in Franklin. Telling people about it for a long time. Family business. Owned since 1931. It's not what they do, it's who they are. They've been doing it so long that it's easy. They can't say to you it's easy, but the quality of work will tell you that. Expert workmanship guaranteed for the life of your vehicle. Why do I tell you about them for me? Because people that go there are so impressed, so happy. Eventually they come around to thinking, wow, Homer, thanks. They think better of me. Not on the top of your list, but it's there. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. Fisco, 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 to remember the name. The Doctor of Football, Brian Bulaga, who always watches games twice. I have made fun of that because he doesn't need to watch it twice. He knows football, but I don't think he's ever going to change because he has a certain standard. Am I correct on that? As much as I have said you don't need to, you're still going to watch games at least twice in the future, correct?
Yeah, I don't see the need not to. I think it's good practice for me.
For you, because
I mean, again, I always think it's good to be educated on the topic that I like to discuss. And if I'm going to get in and talk about, especially what I like to talk about is offensive line play. And if I'm going to be, I don't like to say overly critical, but if I'm going to nitpick details about what happened throughout a game, I want to make sure I'm accurate. So that's why I go back and watch it again, because I don't want to get something wrong. And I don't want to look at something and, I got it completely wrong. I should have watched it again. I should have looked at it again, and I looked like a fool because I didn't, and the TV copy didn't do it justice. So that's why I like to go back and watch it again. I like to be accurate on it.
I knew that. See, you're a man of very high standards. I still don't get it. I think you know the game so well. I think you watch a game, a player, and I think in 2 minutes that you can see what's going on. We have more questions from YouTube like, do you think we take a quarterback this year? I say no, not enough picks. But we'll find out what Brian Bulaga thinks next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up on ESPN Wisconsin. Join Homer on the trip of a lifetime to see the many shades of Ireland in August. Text Homer to 800-990-3776 for info. All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you.
First off, there is not one team that's on the fringe that scares me.
800-990-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more. Station updates, show clips, and your place to interact with us every single day just by scrolling through your feed. Follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at ESPN Milwaukee.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're supposed to make both the Rams and Matt Stafford an offer that they can't refuse. And if you don't, knowing how it's been a carousel of quarterbacks post-Ben Roethlisberger, you're telling me and the rest of the football world that you're not serious about doing whatever it takes to try to win a championship. You're just not. Championship-winning quarterbacks don't grow on trees. There are only a handful of quarterbacks that were starters last year that actually have won titles. So I don't understand why you would be willing to forego Matt Stafford when he's shown us on the field that he's still at the height of his powers. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not as if he's washed up. It's not as if he's past it like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. It just makes no sense given where this Rams team is to punt on Matt Stafford, because Matt Stafford is still a very productive player, a very impactful player in this league.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Strong mind, strong body, and strong communities. That is what you need to know about the Princeton Club, and that is what you can achieve at the Princeton Club of New Berlin. When you walk in there, you will feel completely motivated to better yourself just like everyone else is doing. I've done personal training. They have saunas. They have workout classes. They have basketball courts. They have indoor-outdoor swimming pools. It all starts with a tour. Check it out. You're going to fall in love. Free childcare with the membership, open 24/7. Check out the Princeton Club of New Berlin. Get your tour and take that small step to a bigger journey for a better tomorrow. That's at theprincetonclub.net.
Are things getting a little stale? Need to bring back some excitement? Rekindle the romance and love your ride this month at Cunis. Your Milwaukee Metro Region Cunis dealerships are showing the love with new vehicle specials you'll adore at nearby locations in Oak Creek and Greenfield. From the affordable Buick Envista SUV to the rugged GMC Sierra pickup, they have vehicles for every budget. Thinking pre-owned? Visit your local dealership website for a sweetheart deal on one of our 10 pre-owned super specials and swipe right for service specials on brakes, tires, and oil changes.
I'm Brian Bohm, General Manager of Cunis of Oak Creek.
And I'm Bill Eater, General Manager of Cunis of Greenfield.
We would like to invite you to take advantage of these great monthly specials.
And remember that your vehicle will be covered by our exclusive No Fear Lifetime Powertrain Warranty, included with new and qualified pre-owned purchases.
Call or stop in today for your VIP appointment.
Love your ride this month at Cunis. Start your search online at CunisBuickGMC.com.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Everybody has questions for Brian Bulaga, now the Doctor of Football. Why do the Packers always have disgruntled stars? We'll address that shortly. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. I've been saying that for years, but I got it right now. More than that. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service, and they're so good because they've been doing it well for over 50 years. I mean, they'd be good the first year. Imagine how good they are now. And they can simplify confusing insurance decisions because of that, and their size, I now add. Small enough to handle your needs with special attention, but you have to be large enough to have the clout to make it happen. So when they talk to the various companies, the companies show them respect because they know how many people Saganiac Planning represents. But you can't be so large that they can't deal with you because they're too big. Small enough to handle your needs and large enough to have the clout to make it happen. Saganiac Planning, 783-783. Remember that, 262-783. Roger Maris, 6161. Can't wait to ask the Dr. Football, Brian Bulaga, why do the Packers always have disgruntled stars? I guess that is in reference to Jaire Alexander. I don't think they do, but I didn't ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they always have disgruntled stars. I mean, I don't know if that's always the case. I mean, I think the Jaire thing's kind of been building for a few years now, and I think that's noted with kind of, you and I have talked about it, with the way the injuries have been handled and kind of the way that's played out. But in my time there, in 10 years, I don't recall there being a bunch of disgruntled superstars, right? Like I just don't I don't recall it. And we had a lot of superstars. I mean, you could make a big claim that Clay could have been really mad every year that he was underpaid and he wanted a mega new deal, and he was never disgruntled. He went out there and played. He played really hard. You could make a claim that Aaron every single year could ask for a new deal, and he wanted to be the highest paid guy every time a quarterback got paid. He didn't do that. You could make the claim that Jordy could do that. You could make the claim that, I guess when Devontae got, there's a lot of people that you could say, Dave, Sitton, TJ, they all could have done that, but they didn't, right? I mean, and I think there's always exception to the rule, and there's always things that happen. I mean, this is the NFL, and I understand this is a new era of the NFL. Things change from generation to generation of players and the way agents handle things and all that. But I don't think Green Bay has this as much as other teams have it. I'll just say that. And that comes down to the GM and the leadership in the locker room. And I think Green Bay does a fairly good job, and the head coach as well, fairly good job of keeping that stuff in-house if there is a lot of guys that maybe aren't as happy. And it's not happy because Green Bay is a bad place. It is a money thing. It's always a money thing. It has nothing to do with not liking Green Bay, Wisconsin, or the Packers, because I can assure you, knowing this and talking to a lot of guys that have played everywhere and hearing their experiences, there probably is no better place to play than Green Bay, Wisconsin. So it's always about money.
Even though it's Green Bay, it's a dinky little town. Or maybe you don't live there that long, so it's not like you're there all year.
Who cares?
Oh, all right.
Who cares? I mean, you're there to play football. You're there to play football, and I'm not going to go into the financial advisor out term on this, but it's a great place to play. The fans love the team. It's all about football. The organization is all about football. Wisconsin's a great state. I really believe that. I loved my time there. And most guys are there for the season. Then they go back to where they go, right? And that's what it is. But playing in Lambeau, how they treat the players, it's fantastic. So whenever guys, normally I look at it, that are really upset or in this term disgruntled, it's always about money. It's normally the way things happen. And I think Jaire's may be a little bit different. And we've discussed it. Why I don't think Jaire's is money. Jaire's got paid a lot of money. So I don't think it's about money for him. I think it's something different. And that's that.
And that's that. We also had YouTube as people are watching, listening, and saying somebody. And I don't give credibility to one person's opinion as anything but one person's opinion. But the belief that Jordan Love is an average quarterback. No! Everybody knows he's a good quarterback. The question is how good, right? Everybody knows that LaFleur is a good coach. The question is how good. And you got to have something really good to make it all the way and do something really special.
Yeah, I think average is... I don't think he's average. I think he's better. I think he's a good quarterback.
I really want to see next year because I think he'll run more and he should run more, and I think he was hurt, and that's the best way to notice it. I'm gonna start addressing with you the number of yards rushing because I think he can run. And
I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
Marquette basketball. The Marquette Basketball Hour is next.
Southbound 94, we do still have this accident in Kenosha County. This is right at the ramp from Highway C. The right lane is still blocked with this. So we still have delays coming in from about Highway 50 all the way to that accident scene. In Racine County, southbound 94, right about at Highway 20, we've got an